is a major breaking news alert with global implications. President Donald Trump has just announced on Truth Social a complete and total ceasefire between Israel and Iran, potentially ending what he called the 12-day war. The announcement comes just hours after Iran launched 14 missiles at the U.S. Al-Udeid Air Base in Qatar, which was a direct retaliation for American B-2 bombers striking 3 Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend with bunker-buster bombs. So how did we go from direct military strikes to a ceasefire? President Trump revealed that Iran gave the U.S. early notice of their missile attack, a move that prevented any American casualties and was seen as a signal that Tehran was prepared to step back from a wider war. The ceasefire is set to be implemented in phases over 24 hours, with Iran observing the first 12 hours of peace, followed by Israel. In his statement, President Trump congratulated both nations for their stamina, courage, and intelligence to end the conflict, but as of this report, officials from Israel and Iran have not yet publicly confirmed the agreement. This is a fragile but potentially historic moment for the Middle East. We are monitoring for official confirmation. Follow for more breaking updates on this incredible story. This is a breaking news update. The Israel-Iran ceasefire announced just hours ago is already collapsing. President Donald Trump is now lashing out at both Israel and Iran, accusing them of violating the agreement. Speaking to reporters before leaving for a NATO summit, the president said, quote, "They have been fighting for so long that they don't know what the F they're doing." He then took to his Truth Social network, posting in all caps, "Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do, it is a major violation. Bring your pilots home. Now." The public command followed what was reportedly a tense phone call where President Trump told Prime Minister Netanyahu directly not to strike Iran. Taylor Swift just got a new tax named after her, and she is probably not going to write a song about this one. Rhode Island's House of Representatives just passed what everyone is calling the Taylor Swift tax. It's a new surcharge on luxury second homes valued over $1 million that are sitting empty for more than half the year. The tax would be $2.50 for every $500 of value over that first $1 million. For Taylor's $17 million mansion in Watch Hill, that could be an extra $136,000 a year in taxes. So why are they doing this? House Speaker Joe Shekarski says it's to address the state's housing and healthcare crises. He said it's more fair to tax multi-million-dollar second homes than to raise taxes on working families. But the real estate industry is fighting back hard. And even Barstool's Dave Portnoy is weighing in, saying he's worried other states are gonna get ideas. So what do you think? Is this a fair way to tackle a housing crisis or a penalty on success? Let me know your thoughts below and follow for more updates. Get your popcorn ready because the biggest political showdown of the week is about to go down in Washington. This is Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, the guy who controls the country's money supply. And this is President Donald Trump, who really wants him to cut interest rates. This week, Powell has to testify before Congress right after the Fed decided to keep interest rates steady for the fourth consecutive meeting. Trump is publicly pressuring him for cuts to boost the economy, but Powell is holding firm, saying the central bank is in wait-and-see mode. And here's why Powell is concerned. The Fed's own projections are pointing towards stagflation. That means they're predicting higher inflation, lower economic growth, and rising unemployment all at the same time. This isn't their first rodeo. During his first term, Trump called Powell an enemy and even talked about firing him. When Powell was asked a few months ago if he'd resign if Trump asked him to, his answer was a simple, one-word, no. So, who's right? Should the Fed cut rates to help the economy now, or hold steady to fight inflation? Drop your take in the comments below, and follow for updates on this high-stakes battle. Alright, you might want to sit down for this one. The European Union and Canada just signed a massive new defense deal. They've created a new security and defense partnership to jointly buy weapons and cooperate on things like cyber and maritime security. And the reason is stated pretty bluntly. The EU says threats posed by Russia and Belarus are of particular urgency and relevance. And they are putting their money where their mouth is. The EU has launched a new €150 billion defense fund called SAFE. It's part of a larger Rearm Europe plan to mobilize over €800 billion to boost Europe's own defense capabilities and rely less on the United States. And here's where it gets really interesting. Canada might get to access that €150 billion fund. You know who can't? The United States. The US has been specifically excluded from the package, signaling Europe wants to be less dependent on Washington for its weapons. This isn't just about defense either. They're also launching negotiations for a new digital trade agreement to cooperate on AI, quantum computing, and cybersecurity. So Europe and Canada are teaming up, and the US is on the outside looking in. What do you think this means for global alliances? Let me know your take in the comments and follow for more. Los Angeles, the city of stars, just declared a fiscal emergency, and things are about to get messy. The city council just voted unanimously to authorize the layoff of 614 city employees as LA stares down a massive, nearly $1 billion budget deficit. But here's where it gets weird. They did this while approving a new $14 billion budget, which is actually bigger than last year's budget. So how did we get here? City officials are calling it a perfect storm. They've got overspending, new labor contracts, and huge liability payouts from LAPD settlements. Plus, last January's wildfires and a drop in tourism torched their tax revenue. Even recent immigration protests cost the city over $30 million. Now, 614 city workers are facing layoffs. That number is actually way down from the nearly 1,700 originally proposed by Mayor Karen Bass. But union leaders are warning this will still hit frontline workers hard. And all of this is happening as Los Angeles is supposed to be getting ready to host the World Cup and the Olympics. So, LA is spending more but also laying people off to deal with a billion-dollar crisis, all while planning giant global parties. Does that make sense to you? Let me know what you think in the comments and follow for more updates. We need to talk about the US strikes on Iran. Because according to US intelligence, the story we were told might not be the whole story. Well, a new early assessment from the Defense Intelligence Agency and US Central Command is telling a very different story. Their conclusion: the strikes likely only set Iran's nuclear program back by a few months, not years. The report says that despite damage to facilities like Natanz and Fordo, Iran still has significant stockpiles of near-weapons-grade uranium, over 400 kilograms of it as of early June, and that many of their advanced centrifuges remain largely intact, possibly because they moved equipment before the strikes. The White House is furiously pushing back. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called the assessment flat-out wrong and a clear attempt to demean President Trump. Her take, quote, "Everyone knows what happens when you drop 14, 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets. Total obliteration." So we have the president saying total obliteration and the Defense Intelligence Agency saying just a few months. Who do you believe? Let me know in the comments and follow for more on this developing story.